the purpose of this briefing is to update you on the processes that have been ongoing for the constituency elections for the party, the regional elections, and also the National Congress. So this is to provide information as to where we are in all these processes and to give opportunity for any issues to be clarified. So that is why we called for this meeting. Let me begin by thanking the party supporters and sympathizers nationwide for a smooth branch elections and smooth preparation for constituency elections so far. We have been able to pull through the filing of nominations and vetting processes at the constituency level. Today, we are concluding issues about appeals relating to the constituency elections in preparation for the main balloting on Saturday and Sunday, 22nd and 23rd of this month, that is October. And so, as I've indicated, throughout the process, there have been some misunderstandings about the regulations, the timetable, the processes with the elections themselves and so on. So this is an opportunity to explain some of the issues that have come to our attention so that we will all be singing from the same hymn book, moving from here forward. To begin with, we were considering postponing the elections for Eastern Region, the constituency elections for Eastern Region. The reason being that with the branch elections, the way they had been staggered, Eastern Region had the opportunity to undertake their branch elections latest. So as they were ending the branch elections, processes were already underway for nominations in the constituency elections. So the Functional Executive Committee had sat here and we were, open to suggestions towards giving Eastern Region more time to prepare for the constituency elections. Having consulted with the region in terms of the various constituencies, we are fully convinced that the executives from the Eastern Region feel adequately prepared for the elections. And so we have had to revert back to the decision of the National Executive Committee, that is providing for the elections to be held on 22nd and 23rd. Originally, we felt that, well, if we give them 1 week more, they will be able to prepare adequately. But since they are not ready to take advantage of that opportunity, we have no choice but to revert to the NEC decision. Having said that, there are some of the processes that have not been completed in certain constituencies throughout the country. And in those cases, the Functional Executive Committee had been given sufficient authority to identify those constituencies and to put the elections in those constituencies on hold till adequate preparations have been made to get a smooth elections. Much as the constituencies have the authority to fix their election days and all that, we also have a responsibility to ensure that whatever elections that will be conducted there will be conducted in a free, fair, and transparent atmosphere so that the outcomes will be satisfactory to everybody. So on behalf of the Functional Executive Committee, we want to reaffirm the election dates for constituency elections throughout the country, save selected constituencies which will be communicated to the regional executive committees. All the other elections at constituency level will be conducted on 22nd and 23rd, that is the coming Saturday and Sunday. Details about which constituencies will be put on hold would be communicated to the various affected regions. Having dealt with this nagging issue, the next issue I would want to proceed to address is the seeming confusion about some aspects of our voting procedure. There are some positions like deputy positions. In some cases, you have more than one deputy. And so in the past, delegates were given opportunity to select among the candidates 2 people they consider to be fit for those 2 positions. NEC has decided that the collation, because there is a difficulty in doing the collation of the results, and from history, that collation which involves tallying and all that has always caused unnecessary delays in our elections, particularly when it comes to the election for the 8 other executives. If every delegate is given opportunity to select 8 out of the number of candidates who have filed, you end up with a situation where when the box is open, you now have to do some tally sheets. Every ballot you take, you have to select which of the candidates have been selected, and then you tally. And then you have to do the tallying for all the delegates who have cast their votes before you come to do the totals and so on. And that is always a big source of controversy and confusion in our elections. So this year, the National Executive Committee has taken the position that every delegate will cast only 1 vote. Every delegate will cast only 1 vote. Even where you have maybe 2 deputy positions, you cast only 1 vote. At the end of the voting, we will count. The candidate who has the highest vote will be one of the deputy. Then the next highest vote will be the second deputy, and that will be all. So if there is any request for recounting, it can be done with expedition and then with clarity, because the tallying processes have always been a subject of controversy. In the case of the voting for the 8, again, everybody will cast 1 vote for your favorite candidate for an executive position. So at the end of the counting, we will do the tally, and the first 8 who have the highest number of votes will be selected to be the 8 other executives. So there will not be opportunity for multiple voting in those areas where you have to vote for more than 1. So we want to bring clarity that you have the names of all, if there are 20 or whatever, all their names will be there. Select one person you consider to be the most suitable. Another person will select a different person, another will select a different person. At the end of the tally, we select the first 8, and then they become the 8 other executives. There is an area of controversy also, and that has to do with the choice of venue for the constituency conference. It is already generating some problems. Before I proceed, let me refer you to Article 15 of the party's constitution, and it provides for the holding of a constituency conference. There shall be a constituency conference held every 4 years to elect party officers at a venue within the constituency. I repeat, there shall be a constituency conference held every 4 years to elect party officers at a venue within the constituency. So all things being equal, the conference must happen at a venue within the constituency. There are occasions where we can direct the conference to be held elsewhere, but normally, without any difficulty, it must be held at a venue within the constituency. Number 2, the constituency conference shall be convened by the chairman of the constituency executive committee in consultation with the executive, the constituency executive. The chairman is the one who will call the conference, but he doesn't do it alone. He has no power to just dictate that I am the chairman, so this is where I want it to be held. He must have the concurrence of the executive at the constituency level to determine, to call the conference. Here, the choice of venue is implied, even though the law is silent. But if I am calling a conference, I will decide where the venue should be. So the decision as to where the conference must be held must be a decision of the constituency executive committee, who must be, consulted before the chairman announces the venue. So it is neither the sole prerogative of the constituency chairman to choose the venue, nor in some cases, you see that some of the constituency executive committee members would want to decide and then ignore the chairman's views also, and decide to fix a date. So please, this is a very collaborative activity that should not generate into controversy, except where individuals want to abuse their powers. Now, Section 3, where the chairman fails to convene a constituency conference, the General Secretary shall direct as to the convening of such conference, given the venue, time, and agenda. So I want to caution our constituency executives across the country that this is a prerogative you need to exercise. But if you are not ready to carry everybody along, and there is confusion that suggests to my office that you are unable to call the conference, then I'll be compelled to call the conference and direct the venue, the date, and the agenda for the conferences. I hope and pray that we don't come to that. So in the choice of a venue, please listen to the security officers in the constituency as to the security concerns. There are people who would want to locate the conferences in inaccessible areas to serve a particular interest. Please try and avoid that. There are areas where intentionally people want to locate these conferences at places where there is even no network, so that when there is any confusion, nobody can call anybody. Please try and avoid that. In all these cases, I will urge the constituency executives to confer closely with the security agencies within the district, and also collaborate closely with the electoral officers from the Electoral Commission. I believe if we all collaborate well to seek the interests of the party, we should be able to agree on a venue that will be acceptable to everybody. And let me say that if, as a constituency chairman, you ignore the advice of your executives and select a venue that in the end lead to any controversy, you will be held, you alone will be held responsible for whatever consequences that will come out of the elections. So now, having done with that, let me also move on to financial matters. There are a few cases where some branch executives did not pay their dues, but they managed to participate in the elections for the branch executives. Now, the delegates for these constituency elections are made up of the branch executives within the constituency. And so the delegate list is principally composed of the 9 branch executives throughout the constituency, plus others. So there is a second opportunity to also check the dues payment status of the delegates who are branch executives. Now there is opportunity for some government appointees, past government appointees, to participate in the elections. The Constitution is very, very clear that if you are a past appointee, DC, former minister, former whatever, and you have to participate in these elections, please take note that your dues payment status will be checked before you cast your vote. So those who have not paid their dues, if you are a branch, elected branch executive, ensure that your dues has been paid before you proceed to cast your vote. If you are a former government appointee who has been mentioned by the Constitution and the guidelines to be eligible to cast your vote, please make sure that your dues payment is up to date, because your status as a former appointee alone does not qualify you to vote. You must be a former appointee who remains a member of the party in good standing, and that good standing also implies that you must have paid your dues up to date. Finally, on the constituency elections, a few constituencies have applied for some variation in how their elections ought to be conducted. Normally, our elections are conducted at a constituency conference at one venue. We have had requests from certain constituencies in some regions who claim that because of the nature of the weather these days, the rainy season and so on, the flooding and so on, so there are a lot of places in some of the constituencies which are inaccessible to from the constituency capital, and so such constituencies have made arrangements to decentralize their elections to the ward level so that they will do the elections in clusters. About 5 constituencies have been given special dispensation to do that. And so you will see that these 5 constituencies, I think 4 are from Western region, which is Western region. The rain is heavier, is heaviest in Western region. So 4 are from Western region, and then 1 constituency also in Ashanti region. So they will be doing their elections differently. We wish them well. We will be following that experiment keenly. If it succeeds, who knows? It may even give us lessons for other elections going forward. Now, so that does it for the constituency elections. The statisticians amongst you, you may be interested in knowing the number of candidates who have put themselves up for the elections on Saturday and Sunday. Now, before I proceed, we have also allowed the constituency, some few constituencies, to also adjust the date of the elections by maybe 1 day forward or 1 day later, depending on their special circumstances. So those in those constituencies know the dates. In some cases, it has been adjusted to take care of, transport arrangements from island communities and so on. In other cases, it has been adjusted to take care of His Excellency the President's visit to certain constituencies that have coincided with the date of the elections. So we are very flexible, and we have allowed that, and we don't think that just 1 day forward or 1 day backwards will change anything in the arrangement. Now, we are having 11,825 candidates who are going into these elections. So we wish them well, and may God bless them. There are the statistics according to regions and so on. And the number of seats available for the contest is 28 times 276. When you do the calculation, you see the likelihood of winning or losing. On behalf of the National Democratic Congress, we wish everybody well. Whether you win or lose, you can be of use and of service to the party. There is a rule for everybody, those who win and those who lose. Your winning or losing doesn't change much about your membership of the party. We are very conscious of our reputation as a peace-loving political party. That is why we have very strict laws about violence and violent behavior, instigators of violence, and so on. If out of losing you disagree with any verdict, the appropriate thing to do is to wait and take advantage of any appeal process. If you decide to take the law into your own hands and to create violence, you must know that there will be consequences for you. So, having done that, we will proceed to the regional preparations for the regional elections. Nominations have been filed, open and closed and filed, and the last 2 days we've done vetting throughout the country. And so we are at the stage of receiving and processing appeals from decisions that have been taken during the vetting at the regional level. We would not open the space for appeals indefinitely. And there is a strict timetable for the receipt and processing of appeals. So please, those who disagree with the verdicts of the various appeal committees must appeal within the term. In fact, our experiences from the appeals at the constituency level is such that somebody will file an appeal against the decision at the constituency level. When that particular appeal is disposed of, they go back and think about another charge and then come back to file another appeal. Those things will not be entertained. So the decisions at the national level will be final. And once they are taken, that will be the end of it. The processes and appeals must end somewhere before the printing of ballot papers. So if you continue appealing indefinitely, it means the elections cannot go on, because we must know the exact number of candidates and their faces and their pictures and so on before we proceed to print the ballots. And so, as I have announced earlier, today will be the cutoff point for the processing of the appeals, because for the constituency elections. Otherwise, we cannot conduct the elections on Saturday. Now, at the regional level, the appeals are yet to begin. The vetting ended, was it yesterday? The vettings ended yesterday. So maybe today and tomorrow we will be receiving appeals from the verdicts of the various appeal committees. Now, from tomorrow, the national. Yeah. As I indicated in my earlier press briefing, our timetables overlap. The constituency elections overlapped with some of the branch elections, and then the regional elections are also overlapping with the constituency timetable, and the national elections will also overlap with the regional electoral timetable. Now, so for the national elections, we have earlier announced that the conference will take place on December 17th, 2020. And so let me repeat the timetable. tomorrow, Thursday, 20th October, and Friday, 21st October, we'll be picking nominations. And in a stark departure from our previous experiences, where people invade this office with their drumming and dancing groups to come and pick forms. This year, all the forms will be downloaded online. So you don't need to come to the headquarters of the party before you come. You can get your form. So when you open the portal, it will ask you to pay something very small. And then it will allow you to download your form. Small means 300, isn't it? Small means 300 Ghana cedis. You know, because of COVID and Ukraine and the death of the Queen, we have decided to maintain it at 300 cedis. So when you pay 300, you have opportunity to download your form, and then you take the form around the constituencies to get your proposals and endorsers and so on. And the filing of nominations, after you have downloaded the form, you will come back to file nominations on Saturday, 5th, and Sunday, 6th November 2022. Then there will be vetting that will take place on Wednesday, 9th, and then Thursday, 10th November 2022. And there will be a window of appeals that will happen on 12th and 13th of November 2022. Then there will be the Youth and Women's Conference on Saturday, 10th December 2022, and National Congress, inshallah, on 17th December 2022. Thank you very much for your attention. The guidelines have already been announced, so the guidelines are already in the system. So thank you very much for your attention. And on behalf of the National Executive Committee of the party and on my own behalf, I wish all the contestants and delegates a peaceful constituency elections. Thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you. For more news, visit graphic.com.gh or log on to Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube at GraphicGH.
Subscribe now.